BBC Hooniverse.
Welcome to a film that has a name that will question a lot. So it's called Big Finish Changes Series 1 Episode 1. This is the show where each episode I'll talk about a different element of change I would bring into the world of Big Finish. Now I didn't want to do it in part 1, part 2, part 3 because I think that if we segment into a series, it means that episode 1 we can discuss animation and accessibility within the world of Big Finish, and then we can go forwards and so on. So I personally think that the accessibility for Big Finish needs to be improved on, not in the way you would expect. So in the previous video I made on previous films I made on this channel, I discussed Big Finish film, but I briefly mentioned animation and accessibility. So what I mean by that is that Big Finish works in the sense of it's a perfect format as it is, right? And I'm not discussing, I'm not arguing the audio side of things, no. It's more of what it presents on a level of visual and a level of other, if you get me. So with TV, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, we've got subtitles, you've got audio description, and you've got BSL, ASL. It depends on what country you're in, sign language, right? Most TV has got subtitles and audio description all around the world, but the sign language would depend on what country you're in or what version of sign language you actually use. So you get a lot of accessibility stuff within that. Now for Big Finish and for radio really, if you're blind, yes, the radio, yes, Big Finish and other audio based platforms work perfectly for you. But if you're deaf and you want to listen to Big Finish, you've got no way of, unless you get it interpreted yourself, you have no way of listening, if you will, to the medium. It's the same with radio, but radio is too old now to be able to fathom with it. But there's a lot of video elements to radio now online, so there's elements you can just pick gist up from stuff and whatnot. But for Big Finish, it's one of those issues where animation would solve it, because if you animated, let's say, I'm just looking at my collection next to me, if you say Dalek Universe, right, you animated the first box set, you did it in a style that looks more like, I'm trying to think of an animated program, more like The Simpsons, rather than what the Doctor animations are giving you at the moment, and then that would produce a really nice image. It would look nice. And what you would do for accessibility is you would make sure there is you don't need to faff around with the audio description because that's what the audio is for. Personally, you would then add subtitles and a interpreter, but you make those optional choices. So when you download it, it'll be more expensive. So you get the copy, you get it on CD, you get it on digital, and you get 3 versions of the animation. You get the animation by itself, the animation with subtitles, and the animation with a BSL, ASL interpreter. What I mean by that is you sort of make it so that it depends on what country you're in. So every release will be the same because you'd have, where available, the interpreter, right? I know what you're going to say, it's going to be really expensive, and yeah, it will be, but for a business standpoint, that may work, right? And the reason why I say may work and not definitely work is because no one can guarantee anything's going to be a success. People want animation, but they might not be happy with the animation, right? So you can't guarantee it's going to be a success. So if you do a trial run with your most popular box set, you can then go, right, this is how we've done that. We're not distracting anyone from not listening to the audio, but what we've done is we've made sure it's accessible for people that people who want to listen to the medium, want to get into Big Finish, but for one way or another can't, right? My example on that is deaf people. I know there's more examples out there, there's a wide range of things, there's other reasons why they might want these accessibility requirements, but from what I know, and to help me really just articulate my point a lot better, that's an element to go down, that's an element that needs adjusting and sorting, right? So, personally, the change I would give for this is add animation, not just for Doctor Who fans that want the animation, but for accessibility means, which means you get more listeners, you get a wide range of things, so they get it on the CD, they get the digital download, they get the 3 versions of the animation, right? One with subtitles added, one with an interpreter, and one without, so that it means that it's accessible for everyone. Now the only issue you get with that is with Big Finish audio, they don't really upload it to YouTube. Fans or people that do that, they upload little clips on the trailers, right? Fair enough. But the issue you're going to come across, well, the animations will then get onto YouTube without you knowing. So I think the next step on that is to create some heavy copyright law, copyright thing in it, so when it gets uploaded it gets blocked, it gets copyrighted, nothing goes forward, because that would ruin its business model. You could argue that some people would do that to save the story, so I think if you do it on a manual basis, so if you say to the viewers, if you see something, please report it, right? Unlisted and private versions on YouTube, so they've got it in a saved, archived way, that's fine, but public wouldn't be fine, right? So I think that would be the only issue, the only downside, and the only dilemma you would have to this, which as a whole isn't a massive issue, but it's a big enough issue to make it noticeable, to make it there. So, even though I think for accessibility the animation would be perfect, I do think you can see a business downside to having animations, and I think it also doubles the workload, which you don't necessarily want to do, because Big Finish do help out with some of the other animations, so it's a real 50-50 on that one. So that was episode 1 of Big Finish changes and animation. I'm back for more Big Finish changes in the future. Hopefully not this week. If it is this week, that means I really have scraped an imaginary barrel, got all the ideas out of it and gone, right, we now need this series. But this is just so that I can talk about this element, this section of this idea that I generated yesterday's film. So I really do think that this would be a positive step forward, because Doctor Who in itself has had criticism, but Big Finish most and some has had some criticism lately that I don't think it needs. I mean, whether or not you agree with the criticism, it's up to you. But I think this will just be a more positive route into the future for the company. Bye bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.